Hi, everyone. My name is Xiao Huang. I am a faculty at the John Mosen School of Business at Concordia University. I'm glad to have the opportunity to share with you a few points about my recent publication at PALM, titled Financing Disruptive Suppliers, Payment Advance, Timeline, and Discount Rate. The study is motivated by the fact that SMEs around the world typically do not have sufficient working capitals, and nearly half of them face regular rejection by financial institutions on trade finance. However, large corporations spend huge procurement dollars on SMEs who also carry high disruption risk. For instance, over 40% of the companies in the supply chain of Tesla carry credit rating BB or below, the quadrant where most SMEs reside. And for these reasons, large buyers are becoming more involved in financing their suppliers. And these may be accompanied with two effects. One being that along with financing, buyers may also extend the overall payment timeline and exercise their discretion on the advanced discount rate. As you could imagine, these had stimulated mixed sentiments and led to regulations on how fast the buyer should clear its payment, as well as the interest rate to be charged between non-banking entities. However, there lacks a clear message on the value of these elements and their impacts on operations. For this reason, I consider a stylized supply chain where a buyer may source from a disruptive supplier using simple wholesale price contract. Beyond the traditional procurement timeline, the buyer may also offer direct financing to the supplier before the production takes place and clear the residual balance after successful delivery. Specifically, the buyer can decide the financing limit and configuring the advanced discount rate and payment timeline at the same time. Based on this framework, I first investigate if a buyer should jointly engineer the financing limit, the payment timeline, and the advanced discount rate to its supplier, and how these elements will interplay with each other and their respective values to the buyer and the supplier, as well as the impacts of relevant regulations on the stakeholders. The study finds that the buyer should finance the more reliable suppliers, and the coverage could be broadened by properly configuring the advanced discount rate or the payment timeline. In fact, the two measures are strategic substitutes for each other in the sense that tailored discount rate should be exclusively used for the most reliable suppliers, whereas an extended payment timeline for those with higher risk levels. While the buyer will generally benefit from tailoring the discount rate or payment timeline, the supplier will enjoy the same only when its risk level is high and will actually suffer if its risk level is rather low. And further, if regulation only applies to one of the advanced discount rate or payment timeline, the buyer can still retain its maximum payoff by properly configuring the other. For more strategic guidance on engineering the business cash flow, I invite you to read the full paper published at the Journal of Production and Operations Management. In the end, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the PALM editors, colleagues, and friends who had offered valuable inputs towards this work. I'm also grateful for the funding support from NSERC and Kirk.